Amen. Roll call, Shelley.
Taylor here. Keith Austin.
Here.
Neil England.
On eight.
Harley Buzzer.
Here.
Joe Bird.
On in.
John Crittenden.
Come on.
Mike Dobbins.
Here.
David Target. Wanda Hatfield. Rex Jordan.
Here.
Dick Lay.
Here.
Mike Shinnebaugh.
Here.
Mary Bakershaw. Ani. Gil Smith.
Here.
Victoria Vesquez. David Wilkinson. Mike Warner. We have a quorum.
Okay, I need an approval of the minutes for the budget hearings and the regular session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Nope. Okay, Sean, you're up.
All right.
And Sean brought
Thank you.
film strip today,
I got half of it here.
too. Okay.
I had a color rendition, and for whatever reason, it didn't make it down here. But last time that we were here, we talked about some questions about what's the banquet space, event space going to look like. So I asked our architects to work up some renderings here. These are black and white, but they are the banquet space that's going in at Tahlequah. And that's just kind of a view of the ceiling. Here's kind of the floor as it's laid out there. We can break this into sections, and that's what this slide shows. If you notice in the middle of that, kind of on the ends, there's some dark features on each end with a line down through it, down through the middle. And that's a retractable wall that will divide it half left, half right. And then in about thirds of a section on each of those, you'll see the same type of structure on each end there. We can divide that across the room. So essentially you'll get 4 small breakout rooms and 2 large breakout rooms if you divided the whole thing. On the right-hand side are individual breakout rooms so that you can have just small group meetings in there. And then there's a place there for storage of all the banquet equipment, the tables and things like that. At the top, that's the east view. At the bottom is the west view. Left is north and right is south.
This is very much like the Sequoia and Deer Room setup, isn't it?
Yes, it was pretty much the same thing. Size of the rooms may be a little different. This is just kind of another look out front, the pre-function area, and where the bathrooms are. There's the men's are on the left and the women's are on the right, and then kind of the entryway there. Ask about how we could lay that out to do the play or something. This one is a layout that has 940 seats with the stage. So you stack your chairs in there, so you can get 940 people in there on that layout. I believe this one is 840. This is the 1,000-seat dinner. That's how we would put the tables in there, and how that would fit in there with a little stage there on the left, portable stage. Just another view of it. This is one if you had a smaller group, say the play was bringing in 250 people a night or 300, and you wanted to keep it more intimate than putting people all the way at the back of the room. You could bring in portable stages that you see there at the back, and then chairs in front of those, and I believe those will seat about 560, either way we do it there. The stage is 30 by 46. It's portable, in and out. So I think that if the desire is to do that, then certainly we can equip this room to do it, set it up, tear it down, and it's very flexible. So that concludes that presentation. I'll answer any questions over that.
John, that looks better. That looks more accommodating.
Sir?
That looks more accommodating than what you were able to describe.
I'm a very good
last meeting.
describer sometimes.
Yeah, you didn't use very
I know
good
what they're gonna
adjectives
look
last
like,
time.
but it's hard for me to convey that.
Well, we were going to do like sovereignty or non-he or even the elders conference that we had a few days ago. I mean, that armory just wasn't suitable at all. But if we
This'll
had
be-
a 500, 800 seater like
This will be
this,
great. It'll have good
Yes.
sound system and the video, and I think Gail's working on the color rendition. But
what's the completion date on that?
we have to be in and open for business May 1st because we have the fishing tournament, the Elite Series, on the 15th. The
Okay.
weigh-ins there, May 15th.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You are welcome. Counselor Shaw.
Now, can you tell me how high the ceiling will be in this event center?
Oh. I didn't write that one down. But my guess is it's close to what it is there in Tulsa. And that's probably 15 or 20 feet high.
About 20.
Yeah, it'll have a good open feel to it. So Gail's gonna play with this.
I'm trying.
I can go ahead with the rest of the presentation today.
Please do.
Our, there it goes. Okay, this is
PowerPoint.
an exterior rendering from the outside, looking from Highway 62 up to the new casino there. Yeah. Sorry, that's a little dark, but hopefully you can kind of see a few of the colors there. Might help to turn the lights out, but I think you get the gist of it. It'll be very nice. This is the restaurant, the initial renderings of that. I think it seats 90 people. And then this is the bar area. So that's looking back at the event center with a color rendering of the tables for dinner. Let me go back. Bar, restaurant, this gaming space, different views of that. Exterior. That we'll be proud of. So anyway,
Questions?
work continues at the courthouse. We're going to, we're working currently there to try to come up with a solution to a problem we've encountered with the heat and air system. And
We're done, Gail.
so I think if, I told our board, if they drive by and see part of the roof coming off, we're having to put the heat and air unit in the attic, and we'll re-shingle the whole thing so that, you know, it looks right. So if somebody calls you and says, hey, they took the cupola down, you have to take the cupola down if this is in fact the fix for it. So the cupola will come off, they'll cut a hole, they'll lift the units in there, they'll put it back, and then we'll re-shingle it like it was. So it's all one color. The retail plaza is coming along. We're excited about that. We've got nukes anchor in the north end and several hooks in the water on the others. So hopefully soon we'll get to announce some new things there. Saline, we're currently underway out there with the restoration of that property. And we're again having to make some changes to how we're doing that. We've had a concern that, you know, we go in there and work on it and it'll get vandalized if we don't have somebody there watching it 24/7. Well, sure enough, last night somebody vandalized it again. So we're in the process of, and last week they tried to cut the locks on the gate out front. So we're in the hunt for a night watchman to be there of an evening and on weekends. So that's kind of how that is. And I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Crittenden first, then Stipp.
Yes, Sean, I had a few questions. Mine's pretty lengthy. Do you want to, anybody else want to go?
It's all gotta get done.
All right. Sean, I had a constituent call me. He'd been working for the casino for 16 years and been on the same day shift for 12. And he said that they brought around some papers to sign saying that policies are being followed in this department, Blackjack. I used to deal that myself, but you know, he been working there a while, have observed some things, and it was his opinion that a lot of them weren't being followed. So in his, he signed the paper but put a note on there, I'm going to sign it, but these policies really aren't being followed. And to make a really long story short, I told him, give me 3 examples off the top of your head, some policies that's not being followed. And he said, well, it's too many. Mm-hmm. And it has to do with the training and stuff as well, what was presented to me. Long story short, after 12 years on the same shift, he gets called in, and now he's on 6 to 12 shift. So he kind of, what I was presented, kind of shook the cage a little bit and felt the repercussions of it. And just wanted to make you aware of that. And we're there's a situation that we'll just not even get close to being illegal to talk about, but the situation, you know what I'm talking about now, is it for sure getting a really, really hard look? I've got plenty of notes and things here, but can you tell me that that's...
Yeah, absolutely, Sean. After I got your email, I looked into it. I reviewed loss prevention's report on the situation. I had some questions, so I referred it on to internal audit. I met with them last Friday and then again Monday about it. They've requested some more information from Siloam. They hadn't received it as of Monday night, but I expect that to be another week or 2.
Well, is there any way, and I know how things work, and
Sure.
You don't have to, you know, there's places a person belongs and places that people think you don't belong.
Right.
But is there any possibility before that final decision is made, is that you could make me aware of that? Because
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure
would,
what you're asking.
well, I would like a chance, you know, I would like a chance to, and I don't really think at this time this is the place right now to bring all of the things that I have, but I would like another shot to say, but did you see this?
Right.
And
If there's evidence out there or another side of it, we're more than happy to look at that. And I don't know what the best form, maybe you and I, when I come over to Stillwell one day and sit down, bring the people that are looking at it and
okay.
look at what you care to share.
And,
Maybe something you don't
you know,
want
I'm in a position here where, you know, I think we've worked together for a while, and I think we've got our opinions of each other, and good, maybe a little bad every now and then, and maybe bad's a hard word, but
Yeah.
what I'm scared of is if you and I have that talk, and you know, some of my fellow council members that may be able to help me say, look at this. I'm afraid that that's not given the.
Well, anything you've got, well, I'm more than happy
And
to consider.
and so
Look
if
at
we
and
can
consider.
get together at Stillwell and not have a quorum, and some of my friends, we could have a little meeting and.
We're not
Do it that way.
out to get people,
And
Sean.
let me just ask you this, Sean, and I've been curious. I've heard this loss prevention panel. You know, over the years, you and I have I've heard that several times, and I've just got some questions. So who is this?
Well, our loss prevention department are the people that investigate situations that come up when there's evidence or accusations or somebody thinks something's going on that shouldn't be going on. And it consists of people that are retired investigators, some policemen from Tulsa PD and other backgrounds similar to that. And what they are is they're, in theory, an objective, disassociated unit. They don't have friends at West Siloam. They don't know the people that are involved. They're not investigating themselves, if you will. So sometimes there'll be a situation come up, and the particular casino will look into the situation, and like you said, maybe there's some other information that comes to light that maybe somebody or something at one of the locations either didn't consider or ignored. And this department will look at it kind of like a cold case, a fresh start kind of deal. But they don't reside in any of the business entities. They're more of a corporate, kind of like internal audit.
Let me ask you, how many of them are there?
I think there's 4 or 5.
Now, who are they appointed by? Is that?
Well, they're not appointed. They're just hired, just like any other employee.
Now, I'm not trying to be smart here, but so there's a loss and prevention job available. They go
It's
apply
posted.
for it.
It's posted and they apply for it just like everyone else.
Now, are they all Cherokee?
I don't know the answer to that.
And that, Sean, while we're talking about it, like, you know, sometimes I feel rushed in here. Sometimes I feel like, man, he's talking too long. But in my opinion, and probably everybody on here, you know, this is one time a month, you know, twice a month maybe, that we all get to sit in here and, you know, listen to things like this. So I'm not trying to take anybody's time. I've got a real life people, employees, you know, that I need, like they're not being Cherokee. Now, you know, that concerns me. Can I do anything about it? Maybe not, but my concern with that, Sean, is do they, you know, the other day we were talking about our election commission. You know, and I asked, well, if the election commission finds something, where does it go? Attorney General. Okay. Well, where does it go from there? Well, and I said, there's no outside sources looking in. And somebody said, you don't want somebody else looking at it, do you? And, you know, I should have said, well, we can talk about that. But like here, so these are outside folks, not necessarily Cherokee.
They're not outside. They're employed by Cherokee Nation.
But what I
businesses.
wonder, Sean, is like a lot of us are from areas where we know just how important that job is.
Yeah.
We know Cherokee folks, and you
Right.
and you can't really tell me that they really know Cherokee folks.
Yeah.
But
We don't base any decisions
Right.
on whether a person's
Right. And see,
Cherokee or not.
That's what
Cherokee.
scares me, because we are the Cherokee Nation, no matter what
absolutely.
initial is on there. C
Absolutely.
and I, it all starts with the C and it's Cherokee, but I'm not aiming this at you. It's really
Yeah,
a
I
concern
understand, but-
with me, and just I think the not understanding the situation, just the black and white, this happened, and then we got to drive by those houses that they just purchased, and the people up there said, oh, did my job, black and white. And not being Cherokee, not understanding the people that we see, that is a big concern for me, and it might not be understood. I'm sure some of my folks understand
We're
that.
just as concerned about those people as you are, Sean.
Well,
We're the only people that are terminated, and it takes quite a bit to get to that point, are people that have done something that they're not
Well,
supposed to.
well, you and I have talked
So-
about that several times, and
So
and
I hear, you
not
hear
so-
one side of
right.
the story, I see both sides of the story,
Okay.
and we try to be fair to everybody. There are situations when people get accused of doing things that they didn't do,
Right.
and I overturn those when they're brought to my attention. So, you know,
Well, I
a
just-
job to me is very important. My dad lives at Westville. I drive by the same people. I've got a place at Stillwell. And
Do these
I
loss
have
and
this-
prevention people,
Do they what?
do they drive by where me and you drive by?
Well, yeah, I'm sure they do on occasion. Depends on where the problem is. They're based out of Tulsa. The head of that, the manager of that, is a Cherokee. He used to be the director of something with the BIA, their armed services or something. So,
Like that.
you know, the message to employ Cherokees is the second part of our mission. Job creation for Cherokee people, provide a dividend stream. So, you know, it seems like it has gotten off kilter that the management of this company doesn't support Cherokees, and couldn't be further from the truth. And we don't want to. We give people second chances, third chances, fourth chances. There's people in this room, and I'm not just talking at the table, but in the room, that I know that relatives of theirs have been given second, third, fourth, and fifth chances. And only if there's no other way to remedy this situation is a termination affected. Implemented.
Like I said, I mean, you and I have talked about this several times,
I
right?
know.
And, you know, and I'm aware that I get a side, you get a side, and, but I just really, I want that faith, and this particular thing we're talking about today, like I said, you and I could probably name 10 times that we've talked at least about this, and it seems, and it maybe should be that way, but it seems like more times than not, it's, the weight is on this loss prevention folks, and maybe there's
Well, all they
no
do-
change in that,
All they
but
do is gather the evidence. Someone else makes the decision.
who is that?
Either the GM or the department manager, or, you know, it varies with the situation. So.
And I'm not quite, just bear with me just a second. And now, one of these employees has asked to see the loss prevention, you know, what the findings were.
Right.
And they were denied that, so.
I'll
so-
check into that.
So it was, this is just an internal thing, you are not allowed to see it, but by golly, if you accuse me of something, I'd kind of like to
Right.
know what your findings are. And, but just please stay with me on this one.
Yeah.
And
I've looked at it, Sean. I'm staying with you. I've asked other people to look into it to double check, and I'll just stop with that. But I hear what you're asking, and we'll get together if you want to, and you can share what information you've got that needs to be considered.
and that needs to
We'll do
happen, that needs to happen before they're bringing their ruling.
Yeah.
Can you let me know when that will be,
When you
So-
and I
so-
will meet.
so we can get together? More
Yeah, I
time.
can, my schedule's open tomorrow to do this if you want to.
All right. Well, let's give each other a call here, and
Absolutely.
I've got some questions here that on the political donation that some of us had heard about.
Right.
Now, I have a question of whose idea was that? Was that yours, the CEO, or the board, or who brought that idea forward?
Yeah, I think that in general, over the last couple of years, we've seen what the effects have been on the Cherokee Nation about not being party to some of the legislation in the early stages that could have impacted us, ball and dice, some of those things. In 2019, actually in the next probably 6 months, the negotiations for the compact are going to occur with the legislature. we need a seat at the table for that. We need representation. We need people that we can call and count on and give our side of the story to. We know some of the other tribes are heavily involved in the campaign donation to political actions and
Yeah.
things like that. We've not been any.
Now,
I
let
can
me
tell
ask-
you this.
But whose idea, I mean,
We
who
have
actually brought
requested-
that up?
We have requested to our government relations department to be able to participate in some form of the races that are happening. And I don't know, Kim, if you want to, I don't know, does everybody know Kim? Kim Teehee, our Senior VP of
let me ask-
Government Relations.
Let me get done here and, just, I'm one person here that speaks for many. So, that's, but, the seat at the table, I know there's a game to be played. And I think that we go overboard sometimes. And I've even pulled myself off of the PAC committee a couple months ago because just simply the ditches that I'm in daily, simply I see that money when I'm trying to get something done for my folks. I see that and I think, hey, what door do I go in to get that? But the seat at the table, I've heard $2 billion Oklahoma impact several times. I mean,
Right.
there was a few more million added to the last figure I've seen to that. And, is that, I think that's a seat, the couch, a bed, and a big screen, $2 billion Oklahoma impact. They should be looking at us already. And,
Well, they are. They're looking to get more money.
all right,
That's the problem.
right.
Right now, it's set at 6%. They're dead set in Oklahoma City to get more money from the tribes. And I can tell you that if the gaming tax rate, fee, whatever they want to call it, I call it a tax, moves 1% from 6 to 7, it costs the Cherokee Nation $2.8 million. It costs the dividend 35% of that, which is about $700,000, I guess, every year, if they get to raise the compact. We feel like spending a little money on the front end to try to do all we can do to keep that from happening is worth it. And it's not even a drop in the bucket to what some of the other tribes are doing. But we believe that's the right thing from a business perspective, from my heart and everything. I believe it's the right thing for the Cherokee people to have a voice up there, to try to do all they can do to keep the state's hands out of the pockets of the Cherokee people and other tribes.
And you don't like that game either, right?
No, I don't like it. I don't want to give a dime away anywhere.
Well, let's you and I get together in the next few days, and I appreciate that's all I have today.
Kim, do you want to talk about that, the issue that was kicked around about increasing the amount that the tribes would pay with the ball and dice? I mean, just.
Sure. Thank you, Chairwoman. To lay some context here, and I know it's something we all already know, but there's growth all around us. The construction projects, all the job creation, everything that we're doing. And that's concurrent with that is our efforts on the state and federal level to keep everything we have protected or strengthened. The stakes couldn't be higher right now. What Sean was alluding to was in this last legislative cycle when we had to defeat proposals that would alter the way tribal state compacts are approved in the state, from the governor's office to requiring 2/3 of the Senate to approve our compacts. And we know in how the budget cycle has been that the Senate can't approve, they can't agree on much less 2/3. But in addition to that, whenever the Gaming Modernization Act was being considered, there were several calls to try to increase the tribe's exclusivity fees that are paid to the state. We were successful in pushing those back as well. And so we know that in this election cycle, in my opinion, this is an election cycle that we've never seen before. The stakes could not be higher for us. I can't understate that. We're going to have a new governor, a new attorney general. We're going to have 44 new House members. That's 43%. We're going to have a quarter of the Senate. This is the state legislature. That's going to be brand new. We've got 76 House members alone that have less than 2 years' experience. And during the general election, those numbers are only going to increase. At the same time, next year, December 31st, we have a compact that's expiring. We have a U.S. Supreme Court that's ruled states can legalize sports betting. Well, we already saw what the debate was like in Ball and Dice in the Gaming Modernization Act, and we already know there's going to be calls for increasing our exclusivity fees. So we already know that what's ahead of us. We know we have to be more vigilant. We know we have to educate, but a lot of our champions aren't there anymore. In the governor's office, the attorney general's office, incumbents that are termed out, our own champions, Chuck Hoskin in the House and John Sparks in the Senate, termed out. They're not there anymore. We've got to find new champions who have the seniority and respect of leadership to work across partisan lines in order to protect our interests. So we had dialogue with these organizations, the Republican Governors Association, the Democrat Governors Association, and we had assurances they were going to make investments in Oklahoma. We, on the PAC list that will be considered today, we're proposing to give to both the governor candidates as well as others based upon our priorities, based upon the committees they sat on, based upon the existing votes that they've had. And so this is a way to protect our interest. As Sean said, and it's no joke, and not that we have to compare ourselves to others, but tribes similar in size and resources like us are giving a lot more than what we're giving. And I don't know about you, but I want to lead these discussions, not follow them. And we have had a seat at the table, but in the governor's office, in the attorney general's office, and with new elected officials, you know, we're going to be clamoring to get our foot in the door just to get an audience. We're going to have to focus on educating, building, and strengthening these relationships. And so this is a unique scenario when we have an election that perfectly converges upon so much of what we have at stake here at the nation with our growth and with our priorities.
Okay. I would like to ask that any other questions that have to do with the political donations or anything be held until our PAC meeting. We're going to have to recess this meeting here in about 5 minutes, go do our special meeting, and then come back and finish this. So I'd like to keep everything.
I have a question.
Okay.
We talk about the dividend, and I know both you and Kim, I know you guys are passionate about our Cherokee citizens and their day-to-day lives and the human services that we provide to the tribe and protecting that dividend. I know you guys are passionate about that. The question has been in the last couple of years with the $6 million to Arkansas, the $4 million to NSU, the $2.2 million to Arkansas, the $500,000 to the Smithsonian. When we start seeing, and then the $750,000 to the governor's race, when we start seeing those type of dollars go out, you start questioning about priorities. You know, your priorities are to make money, to increase our dividend, to help our services out. That's your priority. Our priorities around here is to help our people out. The unfortunate part is that this body doesn't have any say about the money that you give away. I was trying to amend the agenda last meeting and rules where this body could have control or say in money that you guys give away, especially with campaign contributions. I have a problem with that. I know it's just a $750,000, but in the area that I live in the tribal community that I live in, that can do a lot of stuff for our people. And when you got mindsets, corporate mindsets in Tulsa, and Sean, I know you drive by Westville every day, you see how people live, but we live here. And when we see these large amounts of money go out the door, I am passionate about it. And for it to go to a political person's pocket to get a seat at the table, we need to start leveraging what we have as a tribe. We can easily, if this 1%, let's say it goes from 6% to 7%, you said it's 2.8 million, that's going to affect Cherokee Nation. Well, guess what? Increase your Class 2 games. Class 2 games, zero tax you give to the state of Oklahoma. It's give and take. We're the largest employer in Northeast Oklahoma. You think they're going to come to Cherokee Nation and start budging us around? Do you think they're going to go Choctaw Nation and start budgeting around? Well, if they do, guess what? Unemployment rate goes up. Who's paying for that? State of Oklahoma. It's give and take. So my whole thing on all this is where is our priorities? So in this dividend, if you guys got that much money to be given to charitable causes, well, let's increase the dividend. That's the only thing we got say in, because everyone at this table, our interest is our people. It's our tribe, it's our culture, it's our language. That's our interest. And I'm not going to go any further, but I'm passionate about this, and it's a lot of money, Kim. It's a lot of money. I wish it was a lesser amount. Out of respect for you, I wish it was a lesser amount. And my next question is are you guys going to bring us to the CMB board? This is going to be voted on here pretty soon?
We followed the process, policy that's in place, and we did notify the board, yes.
Does this have to go to a vote, or is this just
No.
by notification?
Just notification.
Okay. Because I got a phone call from Chief Baker. He said, pretty much like it or not, we're going to give this money out. I'm just giving you a courtesy call. And other people got polled. I didn't get a poll. Yeah. So, anyways, council, you guys, this is your tribe. You guys need to take interest in all that money that comes in that provides services for your people. Thank
Okay,
you.
we're gonna have to recess and go to our special meeting. Lacey, do you have just a comment?
I do. I just have good news. This is
Okay.
what I want to leave
Quick,
you
quick,
all
quick.
on. Because it's the end of the fiscal year, the federal government is dropping a lot of grant approvals for us, and a $1.25 million grant over 5 years to reduce youth alcohol use.
Good.
Tribal opioid response grant, $6.8 million for 2 years. Zero suicide grant, 5-year grant, 5 years of $1.9 million. And I would save the thunder for Diane, but I have to just say it, $8 million for dislocated worker grant for career services.
Okay, we're gonna recess to our council chambers. If the department heads can come back, do. If you can't, We left off, now we've lost Sean. So, Deborah Lack is here for Diane Kelly.
Need to make a motion to reconvene.
Make a motion to reconvene.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor of reconvention?
Aye.
Okay, now, Deborah.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sean,
Mr. Sean not here.
he was just here.
She just wanted to tell us about those
Candy,
grants.
could you see if he's still in the building?
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, go ahead, Deborah. Do you have anything special?
Lacey pointed out to you that we did win the grant. We were the only tribe out of 110 million. We received 8 million for 2 years. So that consists of about 15 additional employees and helping 400 participants in the dislocated worker field.
Awesome.
There's other things that's going on. We're helping CNB with recruitment fairs. And the next one is at West Siloam, October the 4th.
I think Diane told me they have something like 240 openings or something.
Yeah, there
It's
is.
significant. So if you know anybody that needs a job, they should go.
Yes, we've been at the Hard Rock, correct, and that was a really good PR that turned out. There was, next we'll go to Roland, and then back to the Hard Rock as well in upcoming months.
It's just gonna be a rolling kind of thing until,
Mark your calendars for the Mid-America Chili Cook-Off. That is the October the 4th. And then there's also open houses with the workforce and the Job Corps, Talking Leaves Job Corps Center. The open houses are October the 3rd. We can send out additional information if we need to.
Mike Dobbins?
Just, could you email those job fairs to
Absolutely.
us, please?
We'll do that.
It's usually fun. Okay, anything else for Deborah / Diane? Okay. I did have opportunity to visit with Callie about the reintegration program in Rogers County.
Yes.
She's fired up, and it sounds like she's got a lot of businesses hooked up more in that northern area, so I was glad to hear that. So
Okay.
that's all I have. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Sean, you get your seat back. And was it Counselor Lowe? Yes. Somebody over there. Go, buddy.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
Sean, we're seeing more and more about tribes going west
Yes, sir.
again. And when I first came here and talked to some of you guys over there at the CMB at Catoosa, and you said there wasn't any business out there.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden, there's a business out there, or what? Why aren't we out
I
there?
don't know
I guess we are.
who you talked to out there. At the time, probably the dollars were better invested here
Yep.
than they were out there with the size of market that's here versus what's out there. The chicks went out, I think, to Guyman or somewhere out there where, you know, that's an area everybody shops in Guyman. So they felt like they could put one there. They got their land in trust. The Catooas and I believe the Delaware were trying to do one in Enid. They felt like Enid was a good place. It's okay. There's competition all around it. It won't be a casino like West Siloam, probably not even Roland. So I think they're making effort with the city of Enid to try to work with them to get some land placed in trust. And we have looked at helping as a third party. We are helping the cause with theirs, their pre-construction for a fee. That's up just on where I-35 goes into Kansas. And so we're looking at that area. Is it a lot of money? No, it's not.
Well, and that's one of the areas that I talked about to y'all over there at one time, that I-35 goes right into the highway to the west. It goes into Ponce City from Arc City, and somebody said there's not any money there, but we're doing the Ramonas, we're doing
Yeah.
South Crawfordville, we're doing the Groves. We spent money to do what I call the small ones, I guess.
Right.
but they make us some money.
Absolutely.
And so we're spending a lot of money to the east of us. We probably could have by now built a small casino to the west of us
Well, we
and been making money on it. Is all
Yeah.
I'm asking.
yeah.
And so, is anything, are we looking at that?
The answer to that is, at the current time, we are not, for a variety of reasons. But we are looking at other areas and other opportunities to, outside of Oklahoma, to increase our gaming. The northwest, northeast corner is saturated. It's a dogfight out there now for market share between Tulsa, between us and the Creeks and the Osage, and there's even some rumblings that other development in that area may occur. And if that does, we'll have to answer that. But we have not looked in northwest Oklahoma based on what we feel like the market size is there, plus what the reception would be, trying to get the governor to come on board with that, and a variety of things.
Well, the outlet that used to be ours is historical significance to us. Seems like a natural to me, but CMB guys don't sometimes, at least at that time, they didn't want to go out.
Right.
They didn't want to venture out there. We've done the same thing with these small ones that we could have already had out there, so.
I'm sure it was a business decision at the time, Dick. Like I said, back in the day, we only had so much money. We didn't have what we've got. And we had to invest in the areas that we felt like gave us the best return the quickest. And so,
I didn't get here till 2011, 12, so you guys had plenty of money then too, so
Well,
I thought.
we don't have as much as we do now. But we're looking for every opportunity. I'll ask them to relook at that area and see if there's anything that makes
And
sense.
like I'm saying, I mean, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but we've spent, I don't know, I'm not even gonna mention the number, trying to go west. And we're gaining a little traction, I guess, but in my mind, we're still spinning our wheels. We could have invested that money in something that could have been up and running by now. So you guys are smarter than the rest of us. How come we didn't do it? And I'm just sitting here wondering what the thought process could have been from 2011 till 2018 to not do it when we see, it's obvious we see these other tribes trotting out that way. Missed opportunity.
In your opinion,
The chicks wouldn't go out there for one money. That's my opinion. They're pretty smart fellows.
Question?
You done? Counselor Lake?
For now.
You got a few in front of you. Keith?
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, I wanted to point out that the past year has been your year of highest competition, the past year and a half. Tulsa World had a edition that came out this week called Best of Tulsa, voted on by readers. And the Hard Rock and the Joint and our restaurants, every single category, they came out number one out of the Tulsa competition. So you met your competition and you faced them eye to eye, and you came out on top, and I applaud you for it.
thank you. There's been $500 million invested over the last 2 or 3 years in the Tulsa market. You looked at all the studies and it said we would take a hit of anywhere from 15 to 20 million. And kudos to Mark Fulton and his group for not letting that happen. They chose not to participate. There was a little downturn at Hard Rock when the Creeks first opened at Margaritaville, but I'm happy and proud to say as of last month it's operating at the same level it was, before they injected $300 million into their project and $200 million at Osage. So fantastic job for that group.
It also was the best hotel in Tulsa.
Absolutely.
So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Creighton?
Yes, Sean, there's, you know, the reports that came out about Stillwell. Are you familiar with those?
No, sir.
Supposed to have the highest death rate in the
Oh, yes, sir.
nation.
Mortality, yeah.
And then a couple of days later, the highest obesity rate in something.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it was on the news, and then one of my administrators at school knocked on my door, and I said, "Hey, I hear we're in talks about having a, you know, something similar to a Marcoma, which I'm sure everyone here would want one for their district, and I definitely, Frankie feels the same, want to advocate for that." And I had to just say, I love that idea, but I had no idea about that. And another thing I didn't have an idea about, but we won't talk about that. But have you had any talks about that yet, Sean? Or
About building fitness centers
well,
and things like that? I don't-
just C&B's eye toward that area, and I mean it's you know, Dr. Gann, he's kind of breaking down the data of, you know, where they took a test group, you know, of Stillwell. You know, how does that? Are we really looking at apples and apples and oranges nationwide? You know, if you're measuring New York City, you know, the population difference there. So he's doing a study on that data and trying to get all that. But it's definitely not good news.
No.
Kanan would agree, I'm sure. But kind of keep your ear to that, if you would. The highest obesity rate in I can't remember if they said the state or surely not the nation again, but one of those facilities. There obviously there's talks. I talked to someone in admin that said it had been kind of thrown around, but that'll.
We have been privy to those. We are contributing money to rebuild the original part of the Stillwell man-killer plant there. And those that take that down and rebuild it.
But I think that'll be a hot topic, at least with Frankie and I and different ones, and just keep your ear to that if you would.
Lisa Pivot probably has a lot of those studies, Counselor, that
Right.
I bet she could implement, knowing the history and the background of that area. And I've proposed it many times about having facilities like that out there in various districts. Much needed prevention health here. And I think they've got grants prepared. It's something that we all need to look at. It works.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Wilkinson.
750, where's that coming from? What account?
Sir?
The 750, where's it coming from?
It's coming from our new market tax credit money that we have, not the credit itself, but the earnings off of that, plus our smoke shop earnings.
Smoke shop and the new tax credit. New market tax credit.
Many years ago, we were allocated new market tax credits, the nation was, to put out in the communities to help finance construction of projects around the state of Oklahoma, actually. And so we have earned interest off of those projects, and that interest is what we have used, plus we have earnings from our smoke shops. I think Roland, we have a little over $3.5 or $4 million over the last probably 10, 15 years that they've earned that we've used
In
for
those
that.
compacts, it's allowable for local contributions for.
Yes, we did all the legal research. Didn't want to jump out there and do something that would not be right.
Right, thank you, Chair.
Counselor Shaw?
Yes, I just wanted to share with everybody that Dr. Grimm, Dr. Gann, Lisa Previtt, and the Lynn Institute are working together to change the diametrics of Stillwell, Adair County. And I know that that's the first one I think they're zooming into target on. They're working on a comprehensive strategic plan for all in jurisdiction, and I know that that's their #1 priority. And we'll hear more about that, I think, from Dr. Grimm at Health Committee. Councilor Dobbins?
Thank you. And I might add, in the Public Health Subcommittee meeting, they'll go in more in depth about this study that came out with the Stillwell statistics. They really questioned the methodology of it. Yeah. So that would be you'll be able to come to the Public Health Subcommittee meeting here in a couple of weeks, and our Dr. Grimm, Dr. Gann, Lisa Previtt, they'll address all that and really
I think that's going to be a good addition to our schedule, having that public health committee, because it's an effort to get ahead of all of these healthcare dollars we're spending on the other end. So I applaud you guys for coming up with that.
Yeah,
Councilor Crittenden, you want another go at it?
might as well. But, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Brian and I were talking about that, preventative side. And that's a good thing, and I absolutely hope that the findings, that the ones doing the statistics were wrong. I mean, I'm hoping for that, and, and I'll still be advocating for that, fitness center, because it is needed, for sure.
We all want one.
Right. So, thank you.
Junior?
On these contributions here, it's just like all your major corporations. That's why they give their big contributions. They don't want to be left out. It's, well, I look at it, it's kind of like you don't participate, you're not going to get to go to the prom. So, I support this. I think it's well thought of and get us down the road a little bit. So I support it.
I bet you went to the prom all 4 years.
Sure did. I was prepared.
Councilor Shambaugh has the floor.
Oh, thank you,
You're
Chair.
welcome.
Just a quick deal about the fitness and the proactive on our health system. There are places already that workout fitness centers that are willing to partner with Cherokee Nation, and that would be a good cost savings way to do that. Identified a couple of places that'd be willing to do that. If it ever comes up, I want to be a part of that. And just real quick, I agree with Councilman Smith. It's an investment. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, we've invested heavily in our casinos, and we rely heavily on our casinos, and I think it's just something that we need to do to ensure that we keep our place where it's at. I think it's important, so I'm for it.
Councilor Lay?
Yes, ma'am. The tax fund you mentioned, what's the name of that again?
Tax fund? New market tax credits.
New market tax credit.
Were done probably in 2000, say 8, 9, or 10 or something like that.
How much is in that?
I don't know, Dick.
60 million.
Yeah, that's not our fund, but there's interest that was earned off that, and they unwind. And the first one just unwound, and I think we got $1.5 million of that or something.
So they're in a series of those?
There'll be a series of those as the project matures and
So
pays off.
when you say unwind, does it cash in like a bond or something?
I need to get somebody down here a lot smarter than me to explain how that works.
What, they're on the business side because it was a business project? Is that-
Yes.
It's not over here because I'm wondering what's not over here.
Well, it was a business thing that we went after as a business, and were able to obtain back when, I guess it was Obama, or maybe it was the late Bush administration, offered those out there to tribes, and we got an allocation of those.
Can somebody investigate if that could come over here? Madam Chairman, you're the money lady.
I don't investigate.
Ask, check, whatever.
Okay. Are we done with Sean? I think you can go home, Sean. I appreciate you sticking with us. I appreciate you coming back when I gave you the opportunity to run before we recessed.
I appreciate the council, I appreciate my job. I appreciate the council and the support we do get. Sometimes we differ on things. I think everybody's trying in their mind to do the right thing, and I know we are. But we don't always do that, so when we don't, let us know and we'll fix it.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you coming. Can't wait to have our first convention in your new space there.
Will be nice.
Okay, we need to do our consent items. I'm sorry? Is that- Deborah? Are you okay, Deborah? Just stick around, Carol. Okay. So, and that's gonna be the first thing that we go over. We have a list in our book.
Motion to approve, second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the new tarot. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, remember the banquet's November 1st at Hard Rock. It'll be good. Okay, community assistance, you got a new sheet. Speak now, forever hold your peace.
There are a few additions for Council Lady Shaw. She has Capital City Cherokee Community 500, Central Oklahoma Cherokee Alliance 500, Cherokees of Central California 500, Cherokee Citizen League Southeast Texas 500, Cherokee Community of North Texas 500, Cherokee Community Puget Sound 500, Cherokee Township, San Antonio 500, Cherokees of Central Florida 500, Colorado Cherokee Circle 500, Mount Hood Cherokees 500, New Mexico Cherokee Community 500, San Diego Cherokee Community 500, Greater Tulsa Cherokees 1350, and Tulsa Cherokee Community Organization 2000. And also Councilor Buzzard is spending his last $106 for the Delaware County Boys and Girls Club.
Counselor Crittenden,
I got $99 left.
what you can do with it?
And
It's your last $99. Spend it wisely.
I'm gonna do more, but I'm gonna add this to Peavine Schools Harvest Carnival, 99 bones, please.
Okay?
Hey, I think that's all we got.
Motion approved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, law enforcement.
We have a new
I thought there was
list.
a new sheet on that too.
Any changes on that, Jody?
Just the new sheet, that's it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Everybody look at the roads.
Those roll over, right? Law enforcement.
Yes, carries
Motion
over.
to approve roads. Second.
Got a motion, got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, sports team. Were there any new ones on that? One new one looks like baseballers.
Motion to
Frankie,
approve.
yeah.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? And the livestock.
New handout.
Motion to approve. Second. One addition.
Motion and a second on the one addition. All those in favor? Any opposition? Okay, we have no old business, no new business. Are there any announcements? Meet back here October 16th at noon. Frankie, you want to join us?
Wait, I got an announcement, man.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't even look up when I said that.
October 2nd, I'm gonna have a community meeting at Mid-County. They've got a new community building there. It's have some good food and everyone's invited, 6 o'clock. It's my birthday, so
Right.
take that however you want to. But everyone's invited, October 2nd, 6 o'clock there in Mid-County Community Building.
Awesome. Counselor Lay, did you have something, or you just?
Community meeting, October 13th at high noon at the Nowata Community Building.
All righty. So, all those in favor of adjournment? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, we need just a couple minutes.